Hi everyone, my name is Lynn Schulte and I'm excited to have you join me here for this webinar, 3 Secrets to More Richness and Radiance in Your Life and Business. I just wanted to have you see me live so you could see the person behind the voice that's going to be talking to you. This presentation is going to be done in a PowerPoint presentation, so there'll be lots of slides to go over, but I just wanted you to meet me in person and say hi. So if you hang on there, I'm going to go ahead and pull up our slides so we can get started. Okay, so there we go. Welcome everybody. And who this webinar is for is, oh wait a minute, let me get this, sorry. There we go. Who this webinar is for those of you that might be frustrated with your relationship with money. You may be working way too hard for too little results in your business. You can't seem to get to the next level of success. You know that you can, but something's holding you back and you don't know what it is or how to get rid of it. You may not be earning your highest income potential that you know that you're capable of making. And you may be showing up as a man in your business. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, if you're someone that really believes in competition and that you are competing with everybody for business, then that's a very masculine way of doing your work. You may feel that you have to force things to make things happen, or you work really, really hard to get yourself out there and you're really pushing yourself. You may be pushing yourself or your work on people. You really pressure them into saying yes to you, to working with you. And this is really the masculine way of running your business. And I'm going to show you a whole new way that is so much more fun. And you may be blocking your receiving. And how do you know if you're blocking your receiving? Well, if you have a difficult time accepting compliments from people or accepting gifts, or if someone does something nice for you, you're immediately thinking, well, how can I pay them back? That all limits your ability to let things come in to your being, into your energy field, and it keeps you from really being able to receive fully. And I hate to say this, but women in general, we're just bad receivers. We're really good at giving and not very good at bringing it in for ourselves. And we're going to learn how you can shift this. This is also for those of you that might be missing that inner spark or glow of joy and happiness in your life or in your business. You might be feeling out of alignment with your authentic self and fulfilling your destiny. You know there's something more you should be doing, or maybe the work that you're doing just isn't as inspiring to you. Just something really feels off. So what we're going to cover today is how to awaken your feminine essence so that you can show up more powerfully and bring more balance and serenity into your business. We're also going to learn how to activate your truth detector so you can have greater clarity and direction. You're going to know exactly what you need to do in your business. We're also going to learn how to turn up your radiance factor to attract the attention you desire. And also we're going to learn empowering ways to improve your relationship with money. And we're also going to talk about what's really keeping you playing small and not earning the income you desire. And it goes way beyond your limiting beliefs. Now, why I hope you would really stick around is that I'm going to be sharing with you the #1 way you can activate your radiance anytime, any place, so that when you walk into a room, you light it up and you turn heads. You're attracting to you the attention that you want. And this will definitely have your clients more eager to really work with you. And plus, I'm also going to be offering you a free gift that's worth over $200 that will guarantee you a new way of looking at yourself and your business. Now, the one thing I know, the biggest issue for most women entrepreneurs is that we are really holding yourself back from greater success. And you're blocking your power and your ability to receive. And the real problem to both of these big issues is that you're lacking an interconnection to your pelvic space. And the pelvis is really the foundation, the energetic foundation of who we are and how we're showing up in the world. And it tells you how much you're able to hold. And so when you're connected into this space, you have a much more solid energetic foundation to grow your business and to live your life from. You also have the ability to have greater balance and flow and ease when you balance out the energy of this pelvic space. And you're really able to own your power in a way that doesn't scare people away, but yet draws them to you. And you have a greater ability to receive more money, more clients, more ease in your life. And you'll know when you're living from the space how to increase your energetic money capacity. And you'll also have access to your truth detector to always know what is right for you and your business. So when you're connected and living from your pelvic space, you exude a radiance that has people wanting to work with you. And you have the ability to hold and attract more money, more clients, more success in your life and business. It's just a whole new juicy way of working in your business. It's so much fun. So today I'm going to share with you the 3 secrets to more richness and radiance. You're going to learn how to live a more rich lifestyle that includes, but yet goes far beyond the money issue. And we're also going to learn how to be more radiant in your life and business. And so why should you listen to me? Well, I am a women's health physical therapist. I've been one for over 25 years, and I've owned and operated 2 successful PT practices. I've been working with women for over 25 years, and I've helped them connect into the power of their pelvis. And women kept telling me that I was changing their life. And that really wasn't my intent when I started out. I was just helping them work with the energy and really making sure they were connected into their pelvic space. And yet it was changing their life. And you know, the same thing happened to me. When I first started learning how to work with this pelvic energy, it changed my life as well. And I have been able to really discover my true, authentic power. And I can now say with joy that I am doing my divine purpose in my work, and it feels so good. So when I first started connecting into my pelvic space and working with it, I had a startling realization that my marriage really wasn't working for me anymore. And that was quite a shock for me, because I felt like on one level we were good friends and we got along well and we were a good partnership in taking care of my 2 boys. But on several other levels, it just wasn't working for me. And when I tapped into this space and I came to that realization, it was really a challenge for me to deal with it. But I, through lots and lots of tears and lots of resistance, I eventually did end my marriage. And I really didn't want to break up my family, but yet my truth detector was not letting me let this go. I tried to ignore it and it wouldn't. And please don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you that if you tap into your pelvic space that you're going to end your marriage. But what I do know is that when you tap into the space, you do find out what's true for you. And it makes it hard to try to avoid the truth when you're really connected into this area. And so once I ended my marriage and I was able to move out of our house. We sold our house we were sharing, and I bought this brand new house that I love. It's so light filled and it's got mountain views, and I have really created the life of my dreams right now. I absolutely love the work that I'm doing. I love where I'm living, and I love my connection with my boys and family and friends. And I am showing up so much more powerfully and really claiming the fullness and the joy of who I really am, and it feels so good. And so while my PT practice was doing great and it was easy, and you know, I was making enough to really cover the bills, but I've got my boys are teenagers and I really need to step it up and start putting aside money for college and for retirement and stuff. And I just have had this nudge for the last couple of years. I needed to be doing something more. And I need to be doing something bigger, but I didn't quite know how I was supposed to do that if I'm supposed to have my hands on everybody. You see, the name of my practice is Intuitive Hands Physical Therapy. And when I put my hands on people, I can sense what's going on in their body. And so I wasn't quite sure how I was supposed to be doing something bigger if I had to have my hands on everybody. And so I just tried to ignore that nudge, but it wouldn't go away. And so what happened is I got drawn and led to do this training. And this training was all about working with the imprints of our time from our birth. And I went to this training and I knew I was born breech, but I didn't know how I came out, if I came out butt first or feet first. And I'm going to share a picture of my boys here, and there's a peekaboo view of my dog there. So I went to this training, and I was laying on the table learning how to work with re-imprinting my birth. And I found that my left knee was being drawn up into my chest, and my right leg was sticking out straight like an arrow in front of me. And I laid there and I go, I wonder if I was born feet first. And I did confirm later that I was with my mom. But as I was laying there on the table with my legs in this position, it dawned on me, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is such a reflection of how I'm showing up in my business. While my PT practice was successful and I was trying to put myself out there, I was so holding myself back at the same time. And a couple examples of this was I wrote an article for the Midwifery Today magazine. And I was so excited because it was my first published article. And when I got the actual magazine in my hands and reading and looking over it, my heart just sank. Because over on the biography part at the end of the article, I didn't give any contact information, no website, no email, no number, nothing. I wasn't making it easy for anyone to find me. I did have my name and my business name in there, but that was it. And so looking back, and then I'm like, wow, that was just my subconscious, unconscious way of really holding myself back. And I did the same thing when I created this video 4 years ago on YouTube called How to Massage Your C-Section Scar. And in this video, I have over 127,000 views of this video. And yet I put my website link at the end of the video, but I didn't know at that time to put it down in the description so that people could just click on it to go to the website. And so again, and now because Google bought out YouTube, it changed my username. I no longer have access to that video to change the description on it. So it's just, I'm making it hard for people to find me. Well, when I re-imprinted my birth, I was able to tap into an expansiveness that was beyond anything that I had ever discovered before, and it really changed everything for me. I was able to come on out with both legs down and really be present, and it changed what was happening to me. In my business, I had a client that came to me shortly after this, and I asked her what she did. She's like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I help businesses get their videos out on the web, internet. And she's like, hey, can we do a free video of your business? And we'll even pay for the advertising. And you just tell us how it does. And I was like, sure, no problem. And it was like, it just landed in my lap. And so have many other opportunities for me to get myself out there in a much bigger way. And the other main thing that's happened, the huge thing that's happened since I've re-imprinted my birth, is that I've learned that I can now work long distance with women no matter where they're at in the world. I can tap into what's going on in their energy field. In my body, I can sense what's going on so that I can help work with them and shift their energy as well. And this just opened up everything for me. I now have online group programs that helps me to better leverage my time so that I can make more money. And I've been more successful in my business than I have in its entire history. And I can now excitedly say I am making 6 figures in my business. And it feels so good. I feel like I'm finally listening to my soul and being guided and directed in a stronger way to really guide me to where I need to be going. And it feels so good. And I'm doing work with women that is truly my divine purpose and calling. And I'm feeling more fulfilled and more rich than I've ever felt before. So I love my life. And I so desire this for every woman out there. They need to be able to tap into this power and this energy that's in there to help change their life. And it's not only changing my life, but it's also changing my client's life as well. This is Linda. Linda's someone that I worked with, and she was currently making 6 figures when we started working together. And she wanted to double her income this year. But she told me, she's like, Lynn, I want to double it, but I can't do it in the same way that I doubled it before. She goes, it'll kill me. And she knew she needed to learn a new way of running her business. And when we first started working together, her pelvis was so out of balance. Her feminine was on strike and her masculine was overworking, way over-efforting things to make things happen. And her energetic money container was a thimble. And after we rebalanced and opened up her pelvic space, she brought in $75,000 in 1 month. And here's Stacy. Stacy's an acupuncturist, and she was able to increase her prices 60% in a field that she felt was saturated, and it increased her business. So after she did my program, she was able to have these amazing changes that have just catapulted her business to the next level. And it's helping lots of other women as well. Some women are experiencing that they're healing their low back pain or their pelvic pain that they've had for years. They're showing up in a whole new way in relationships, and they're quitting things that are no longer serving them so that they can really be focused on what they're meant to do in this life and in their work. It's amazing the benefits that come from working with and connecting into your pelvic space. And so when you have this magical connection to this magical space, and you get to work with this energy that's in there, it can help you to create the life and the business that you really want and that serves your higher self, because you're going to know more of what you really, really want. And when you release the blocks that are holding you back and you access the power that is within you, you show up so much more radiantly. And you show up in a more empowered, authentic way. People respond to you differently. You become so much more fascinating to them. I was involved in a networking group for several years, and I ended up quitting it when I was going through my divorce. And I just recently ran into them, and a couple of the people that knew me from before, they're like, "Holy cow, what's going on with you? What have you done? You just shine. You're just like radiating." And I just told them how I've been working with connecting into my pelvic space. And they're like, "Wow, it really works." And so when you're more connected to the space, you can connect in more deeply with not only yourself, but your family, your friends, and your clients. And they feel it and they know it. So my big question to you is, how are you showing up in your business? Is your foundation supporting you or not? And do you have a big enough foundation to really grow your business to the level that it needs to be, that you want it to be? So let's take a look at the first secret. And I'm sure you can find or figure out by now that the key to your richness and radiance really lies in your pelvis. And the reason you might not be as rich or radiant as you'd like to be is because this pelvis is actually a storage house for all of your unprocessed emotions, traumas, events that have happened to you in your life. It's all being held there, and it really creates a lack of clarity and confusion, and it really dims your radiance. And when you can clear it out and connect in more fully to it, it can be your truth detector. But a lot of times we can't even tap into the truth detector because so much other stuff is being held there. And what happens is that women, when they connect into this area, they really find out what is their truth. But yet, because of all the events that have happened to us in our life, like maybe abuses or traumas, what we tend to do is we abandon this space. We leave this pelvic bowl ourselves. So we're doing this out of a sense of protection. But what happens is it leaves us even more unprotected. And so when you're not living and connecting into your bowl, anything can come into you energetically. Yet when you're fully present and down and living from your pelvic bowl, you get to decide what comes into you or not. And so unfortunately, so many women are not living from this space. And you can see it because they're not claiming their power and they're not claiming the value that they bring to their work. And yet when you can claim this space, you're able to show up so much more powerfully, so much more confidently, and more authentically as you. So your bowl really shows you what needs attention in your life and really how you're showing up in your life. So let's do a little visualization here and see what your bowl looks like. So really allow your imagination to run wild here. Give it permission to see what is currently there and not what you hope might be in there. And so just close your eyes and just sense, what do you see in there? What do you feel in there? What does your bowl look like? What is it made of? What color do you see? Does your bowl sit level? Are there any dents anywhere in it? Where do you get drawn in your bowl? Are your walls deep or are they shallow? Are they thick or are they thin? And depending on the type of bowl that you have in there will show you just how you're showing up in your life. So I had one client I was working with, and her bowl was a very long crescent-shaped bowl with very shallow sides. It could hold a lot, but it was all piled up on top of each other with no support around its edges. And so it was very easily disturbed and thrown out of the bowl. And this was reflected in her life by her really being she was really being impacted by everything going on around her and by other people's energies. And so as we worked on shifting and changing her bowl, she was able to create more of a deep gourd looking type of container that she was really able to be in. And then she was able to create this place of being the eye of the storm, so that no matter what was going on around her, she wasn't being disturbed. And that's really where we want to be living from, is no matter what the chaos and energy is that around us, is that we can stay in our center. We can stay grounded in who we are and not be affected by the outside world. What would that be like for you if you had that kind of way of being in the world? So now recognize that your bowl changes for different aspects of your life. You can have a money bowl, you can have a relationship bowl, you can have a business bowl. And so I invite you to just tune into what your money bowl looks like right now. How big is that? Because this bowl is the energetic foundation. It's how much can you hold in your life? And so if you're wanting to double or triple your income or bring more money in, then we need to expand that bowl and make it bigger. Remember the gal that I worked with, when we started working together, her money bowl was a thimble, and now she's bringing in $75,000 in 1 month. Now let's also take a look at the energy inside your bowl. What does the energy feel like in there? Is it calm? Does it feel clear? Or is it cloudy and maybe chaotic? Sometimes people feel staticky. What we really want is a nice, clear, peaceful energy in our bowl. And so to help you get there, I want to share with you one of my most favorite exercises. It's a pelvic sweeping exercise. And this is an exercise that you can do every single day, because we just keep accumulating all the stuff and all the stresses of interactions in our life, and it just gets stuck in our bowl. We can clear the effects of all that by just sweeping away everything that we've accumulated during the day. So what I invite you to do is to just get comfortable and close your eyes and come on down into your pelvic bowl. And we're going to start at our pubic bone in front. You're going to imagine yourself a small little being, and you're going to have a broom. And we're going to walk around clockwise around the rim of your pelvis. And you're just going to sweep into the middle all that's no longer willing to be, or all that is willing to be released. And let it fall down into the middle of the bowl, down between your legs, down into Mother Earth. Let her take care of it. And so anything that you have stored or held onto that's willing to be released, just sweep it off into the middle. And as you're walking around your bowl and you get to an area that feels a little resistant, just spend an extra moment or two there. And just let it know that you know it's there. Don't force anything to release. If it's not ready to release, there's something you still need to learn from it. So just hang on, just let it be there. Don't force anything, but let it know you know it's there, and then move on. And just make a note of where it's at in your bowl. And keep working your way around until you get to the front again. And I'm sure some of you might need a little bit more time to do this exercise, but know that this is how you can do it, and you can do it any other time. But I really need to move on so that I can cover as much material as I can with you today. So if you remember where those blockages were, depending on where they're at in the bowl can depend on what issues you're dealing with. And in my Rich and Radiant program, we really go into greater detail on how to really remodel your bowl and how to really inhabit your bowl. But the sweeping exercise is the second step of my 4-step process of really inhabiting your bowl. And so depending on where those blockages are depends on what is going on in your life. So the left side of your bowl is your feminine, your right side is your masculine. The front is about fear and letting go, and the back is about support. And so you can kind of, taking that as a guideline, you can kind of figure out what you might be having blockages there for and what reason. So really pay attention and tune in again to your bowl and just see if you notice a difference from the sweeping exercise. Does it feel lighter? Does it feel more clear? And if it hasn't changed, then I invite you to just keep working with this exercise and just see what you can get to shift for you. So now our second secret is that our feminine essence needs to be awakened. And while the foundation of our pelvis lies in our bowl, our feminine essence can be cultivated by working with the organs in your pelvic space. And so our ovaries show you how you're showing up in your life. We have a left ovary, which represents our feminine aspect of us, and we have the right ovary that represents the masculine aspect. And our ovaries, we would like them to be nice, plump, juicy grapes. And that means that the energy is flowing in and it's flowing out, and it's actively working with this energy. A lot of times women have either they're totally absent, so there's the flow of energy, but there's no idea that it's even coming in or out, or they're just gone energetically. A lot of times the ovary can be shriveled up so that the energy is blocked, so it can't move in or out, and it shrivels it up like a raisin. Or it can be overextended like a empty water balloon. And that's when we're over-nurturing, over-producing, overdoing our work in the world. And so depending, your left and right ovaries can be two different separate, they can look different. And ideally what we want is our ovaries to be balanced and working together and supporting each other. And yet we don't really know how to do that. And so these ovaries show us how we might be showing up unbalanced in our life. And a very common pattern that I see in some women is that this left side is over nurturing. So this left ovary is overextended. And that means that we're nurturing everybody else but ourselves. And women in general just have a hard time allowing and nurturing to come into us. And this is all about that being able to receive and bring into ourselves. And so if we block that energy, we're not allowing that energy to come in, and we're not allowing ourselves to be nurtured. And so then if we're over nurturing everybody else, that ovary can be overextended. And then the right side is either it's blocked off because we're holding ourselves back from putting our work out into the world, or it's overextended. The right ovary is overextended because we're doing way too much work. We're doing, and we're not being filled up again. So I had one client that came to see me, and her left ovary was so overextended. She was a mother of 7 daughters. They're grown now, so she's got grandkids. And she was a beautiful mother, just very over nurturing to her kids and now to her grandkids. And yet she wasn't able to bring that into herself. She wasn't able to nurture herself. And we worked on trying to shift that. And she did a little bit, but she needed more help and more work and really being able to shift this energetic pattern. And unfortunately, she didn't choose to continue to work on herself. And she's a coach. And I know that she's struggling in her business because she's now having to go back to do the work that she used to do prior to starting her coaching business. And I know that we attract to us who we are in our business. And if we're one that we're not going to say yes to ourselves and help shift ourselves, then we're not going to be able to attract to us those clients who are going to say yes to themselves. And then our business just isn't going to go anywhere. And yet when we can say yes to ourselves and really nurture and bring in for ourselves, then we're going to attract to us those people who want to do the same. I've seen it over and over in my practice, in my business, and in the business of the clients that I do work with, because once they shift this energy piece and are able to bring in and receive more, they do receive more business. When you say yes to you, you attract other people who say yes to doing business for them, or to saying yes to themselves as well. And so I have seen that when women have been able to shift this pattern of over nurturing others and really being able to bring in and nurture themselves, their businesses grow. And ideally, what we want in here is to have the left ovary open and flowing and bringing energy in so that it can support and bring energy over to that right side, so the right side has energy to do with. It's like filling up that well of water before we give again. And so it's really common for women to have an imbalance in our ovaries. And our ovaries really are our radiance factors in them, the sparks that help create are to activate our creative center in the middle, in the uterus. And our ovaries can be a little dampened. Those sparks can be burnt out. And that is the dimming of our radiance. And so when we're able to activate these sparks and really get them glowing and shining and working in a balanced way, that's when we radiate and glow. And that's when we're able to avoid that burnout. When your ovaries are not balanced and helping and supporting each other, that's when you get into that burnout place. And so bringing the energies and activating the energies so that those ovaries can support each other allows you to do your work in a much more sustainable way. So it is my goal for all women entrepreneurs to really get this and understand that they are in charge of balancing out their energies so that they can do their work in a much more balanced and sustainable way. I don't want you to have to burn out here. And I'd really love to see everyone shining in their brilliance and radiating the joy of sharing themselves and their work with the world. So now our uterus. Uterus is such an amazing place. I hope that by the end of this webinar that you really get that the uterus is so much more for us women than where babies come from and where we bleed from each month. The uterus is a spiritual gateway. It is what allows souls to come into this world. So it is our closest connection to the divine. It's a portal. And it's also a transformative place. It takes 2 cells and it creates a baby. How powerful is that? And it's also our creative center. Creates babies. It can create all of our creations. Excuse me. And the uterus has a cycle of holding energy and releasing energy. And all too often, women are either holding on to their creations too much or they're letting too much go and they're letting go of their power. So women can have excessive holding energy or excessive releasing energy. And that holding energy is where you can't let go of your creations. You're constantly fiddling with them. It's never good enough. You can never get your website out there or your business cards out there because they never just looks perfect. It may show up as women who've had really challenging births or deliveries where the babies just never wanted to come out. That's excessive holding energy. The excessive releasing energy shows up when women are giving their power away. So they feel that they are, they let others take their power. And so if they're creating a if they have a creation that they have put out into the world and others take advantage of it, they just let them take the, what's the word I'm looking for? They let them take responsibility or ownership of that work. And so when we can garnish and harness the energy of this uterus and have proper holding energy and proper releasing energy, then we're able to put our creations out there in a sustainable way where we don't give our power away. And it doesn't matter if you've had a hysterectomy and these organs are gone. The energy of these organs are still present within you, and you can still activate the energy of these places. Excuse me. And if you are no longer menstruating, you still have these cycles of holding and releasing, and they may be tied into the moon cycles. And so it's very important for us as women to really honor these times of releasing. Our flow of our menstrual cycle is the opportunity for us to release all that's no longer serving us. It's a natural cleansing cycle. And it's opportunity for us to just let go and release what no longer serves us. So in my Rich and Radiant program, we really work closely with this pelvic space, your ovaries and your uterus, and help to balance out their energies so that you can more fully access the vibrancy and the potential of the energy that lives in this space. And this can really help you increase your radiance and really shine in your life and your business in a very balanced and sustainable way. Our uterus is also our truth detector. And you can place your concerns in your uterus and see what response you get. I was sitting next to this woman at this conference, and the speaker had made a big offer, and it was a big investment in your business. And she was sitting next to her, and I could just feel the wheels spinning in her head as she was contemplating joining this mastermind and spending this money on investing in herself and her business. And she was just antsy. I could just feel her like struggling with this decision. And I just leaned over. I said, you know, I'm really sensing that you're having a hard time with this decision. She's like, yes, I am. I said, well, would you mind if I shared my work with you? And she's like, sure. What is that? And I said, I work with accessing the power in your uterus, in your pelvic space, and I invite you to just put this decision in your uterus. So imagine yourself doing this mastermind program for the next year. Put that in your uterus, and what do you sense? And she's like, oh my God, everything just relaxes and I feel more grounded. And I said, okay, now put the idea of you not doing this mastermind in your uterus and see what happens. And she said, everything just shriveled on up and got tight. I said, well, there you go. There's your answer. And she was like, oh my God, that was amazing. That was so clear. There was no mind to mess it up. It was a bodily reaction that she sensed into. And so it is so powerful, this uterus. And I just invite you to play with it and know that it's there. So our third secret is that your blocks to your success really lie in your imprints. And the great thing is that you can clear these imprints so that they don't have as much impact on your life. And these imprints go so much deeper than your subconscious and unconscious beliefs because they actually occurred before those beliefs were created. And so in my Rich and Radiant program, I teach you how to deal with releasing the impact of these imprints that they have on you in your time in your womb, your birth, your ancestral imprints. We even have childhood imprints as well. And so you can learn how to shift these imprints so that they're no longer affecting you and impacting how you respond in life. Remember my birth of being breech and how I had one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. And as soon as I shifted that imprint, I've been able to get my work out there into the world in a much bigger way. And that's exactly what I've desired, but I've just been resisting it. And I took the foot off the brake. and have been able to get out there. And remember Linda, who I worked with, and she had her feminine energy was just shut down. Well, in her time in the womb, her dad really wanted a boy. And so energetically, she just shut down her feminine energy so she could show up more masculinely for her dad. And she even recognized as she was being born, as we were working on her birth imprint, that she had her left side was actually resistant and like skid marks in the womb as she was trying to come out. Like the left side did not want to come out. And as she was able to shift that and let go of that resistance and really embody and embrace her feminine, she was able to allow it to show up in her life. And I truly believe that had she not done that imprint work from her birth, that she really would have struggled with really embracing her feminine and allowing her feminine to show up in her life. I find it so fascinating just how clearly our imprints show up in our life. And so it doesn't matter if you can't remember anything about your time in the womb or how you were born, because your body still remembers. There's a cellular memory, and your cells remember. Just like I didn't know how I was born, but yet all of a sudden my left knee just started drawing up into my body. And so there's power of being a part of a group and really accessing the collective consciousness of the group, of everybody knowing they're trying to tap into these imprints. It allows you to access so much more information than if you try to do this work just on your own. So depending on what your time in your womb was like, I would like to share with you just the imprint I find the most in women and in people that came from their time in the womb. And what happens is that when a baby is in the womb, their survival depends on mom's survival. So to the baby, if the mom doesn't feel okay, or maybe she's not in a good relationship, or she's having health challenges, or she's just not happy, the baby's going to do whatever it needs to in order to make mom survive so they can survive. So the baby ends up giving all of its energy out to mom in order to help mom. And since mom is their world, the baby has this imprint of having to help the world. So the baby gets born with this energy of, I need to save the world. And until you can shift that imprint of having to save mom in the womb time, it makes it a lot harder for you to shift that imprint of having to save the world and letting go of the responsibility, taking on everybody's responsibility for themselves so that they don't have to. And once you can release that and let that go, you get to show up more for you and not for everybody else. So our time in the womb is really critical for developing who we authentically are. And a lot of us have taken on our mom's stuff, and dad's too. And so when you can release this, you get to show up more authentically as you. And so another huge impact that these imprints have on us is from our childhood and our ancestors. And a lot of us are carrying money imprints from our parents and our ancestral lineage that we are carrying out in our life. And so we can clear these imprints from your ancestors so that you don't have to continue to play out this pattern of whether it's lack or scarcity or never being able to save money. Once you shift these imprints, you can shift that experience in your life. And so I just invite you to look back on what is the imprint from your ancestors around money that might be influencing you. In my family, my mom was the oldest of 5 children, and her mother was one of the youngest of 13 children brought up in the Great Depression. So, of course, my grandmother has a scarcity mentality and lack, and she was a very wealthy woman. And to her dying day, whenever she went to a restaurant, she would take all the ketchup packets that were left on the table because she felt like she had to hoard those, to hang on to those. And the family would kind of joke about that, you know, grandma, she drove a Cadillac, and yet here she is taking ketchup packets from her table. And my mom has also grown up with a sense of lackady and a fear around not having enough. And so I've had to work with letting go and releasing that imprint from my energy field because I don't choose to believe that. I know that there's an abundance in this world, and I choose to live in an abundance consciousness. And yet, until I was able to release that imprint from my energy field, I was still being influenced and impacted by that imprint. So when you think of the word rich, what's the first thing that comes to mind? And I'm sure a lot of people think money, right? Well, to be rich, we have to have a lot of money. Well, while money is important, there's so much more to living a rich life than just the money. And when I'm talking rich, I'm talking about us showing up in a real way, being authentically true to ourselves. I'm talking about being inspired, doing the work that we are called to do in this life. I'm talking about being connected, first to ourselves, and then to all those around us. And I'm talking about being a heartfelt and a heart-centered, living in a heartfelt and a heart-centered way. And when we do this, that can lead us to a happier life. And what we need to understand is that the money issues that we're currently having in our lives have nothing to do with the money. The money is just the symptom. The symptom really is a lack of connection to ourselves and a lack of connection to loving ourselves. So the more we can love ourselves, the more we can allow that money to flow in. And while, yes, there are many rich millionaires out there who know not the first thing about love, that's not their journey in this lifetime. It's not to master money. It's to learn something else. And for those of us that are struggling with money issues in our life, it really is about healing our relationship with ourselves. And when we do that, then the money can start flowing in. So remember, we've come here because we all know that we have blocks to really getting us to the next level of success. And today we've talked about how your pelvic space is the foundation for your business and how it's also a storage house for all of your unprocessed emotions, traumas, and events that have happened to you in your life, and how when you can clear that out, you can have more clarity and you're able to hold more money, more clients, more success in your business, and how your ovaries are showing you how you're showing up in the world. And when you can balance these ovaries out, you can bring a greater ease and flow and joy into your life and help avoid burning out. And your uterus is such a powerful place. And when you harness this energy, you can really transform what's limiting you and help you find your truth and really claim the value of who you are and what you bring to the world with your work. And we've also talked about the imprints and how they may be holding you back and limiting your ability to show up more powerfully as you. So what I feel you need for success, and what I know to be true for me and for the clients that I've worked with, is that you really need a greater connection to your power center. You need to be able to access this inner radiance and really allow it to shine so you can attract to you the right attention, the right clients to you. And you need to clear the emotional garbage and the imprints that are really getting in your way from greater success. And you need to improve your relationship with yourself and your money. So whatever you showed up on this webinar wanting today, I hope that you get these two things. That your pelvis is really, a connection to your pelvic space is really the foundation for the success in your business. So when you have this connection to you and to this magical place of your pelvis, you really are going to have a greater, stronger foundation for greater success in your business. And so I just invite you to close your eyes and just imagine what it would be like for you to always know the best direction for you to head in your business and in your life. And imagine being in your power and allowing your energy to expand fully, and you're really making a huge impact with your work. You're serving and sharing with thousands, if not millions of people, your gifts and your services. How would that feel? To some of you, it might feel really empowering, and for others, it might feel a little scary. But what if that fear wasn't there? Imagine being able to just show up more authentically as you, free of any of your parents' or ancestral baggage, any of your hurts or traumas or abuses from your childhood. And you just get to be you. You are just shining your brightest. You're sharing your work and your gifts with the world. Imagine what that would feel like. And now just see and feel yourself where you're at today. How far away are you from this vision of who you really want to be? And how long is it going to take you to get there? A year? 5 years? Maybe never? Is that even an option for it never to happen? I hope not. What if this could be your reality in the next 60 days? How would that change the way you're showing up in your life? How would that change your life? Not only your life, but the life of your clients and those that you're here to serve. And so what I know is that you're at a crossroads right now. You have a choice. You can keep doing exactly what you've been doing, and you're most likely going to keep getting the same results. But if you have a vision of being more powerful and more successful, and that feels urgent to you now, then I have a gift for you. If you click on the yellow button below this video, it'll take you to a new page. And I just invite you to read through that page and see if what I've written there speaks to you. And if you dream of having more money, more clients, more success in your business, showing up in a more empowered, successful way, having a better relationship with money, that you can attract to you the greater money, greater clients, and what you're wanting in this world. But yet right now you just might not be able to get there. You know that there's something holding you back, and you don't know how to get to that next level of success. Then I'd like to invite you to sign up for a free Rich and Radiant discovery session with me. I'd love to sit down together with you and really go through what might be holding you back from greater success in your business. I'd like to share with you or look and help you see what the steps you need to take to help get you to that next level of success in your business. And so I just invite you to apply for a discovery session so that we can see what you need to do to get you to where you want to be. And please only apply if you're fully committed to doing what it takes to improve yourself and your business. Because I am fully committed to supporting those who want to get where they're at, but are feeling blocked. I'd love to support you to release those blocks so that you can share your gifts with the world in a much bigger way. So before we end this webinar, though, I'd like to share with you the #1 way you can access your radiance anytime and any place. And I'm sure you're aware that from listening to what you've heard already today, that by connecting into your pelvic space, you can increase your radiance. So I invite you, before you go into any networking event, before you go speaking on the stage or have an important sales conversation with a potential client, to just breathe down into your pelvic space and really connect into your bowl. And breathe into your ovaries and imagine your breath is igniting the sparks in your ovaries. And breathe into your uterus and really ignite the energy and the power of your uterus. And you can do a couple of motions with your pelvis. You can do an infinity 8 with your hips side to side to help activate a mixing and a balancing of your masculine and feminine energies. And then I invite you to just do a slight little pelvic tilt and let your butt untuck and tuck it back under and just do this slight little rocking motion. And that's what helps ignite that feminine energy that just allows you to radiate and shine before you go to your big event. And when you're connected from this space, you show up so much more authentically, more powerfully, more radiantly as you. So thank you very much for your time on this call today, on this webinar. I so appreciate your attention. And I would love to support you if it feels right, if you would like help in activating your pelvic space and connecting into this area and really healing those wounds that you have been holding on to. If you're ready to let go of those and really step up into the next level of success in your life and in your business, I invite you to apply for a free, complimentary, rich and radiant discovery session by clicking on that yellow button. And know that I'm here to support you. I'll give you a free energy reading of what's going on in your pelvic space and tell you how you are showing up in your energy and how you might be showing up in your life. And so thank you all very much for joining me, and I wish you the very much a lot of blessings and a lot of success in your business. Take care.